Hey guys, and welcome back to the farm. It's a nice day, warm day in South Africa at the moment. We're at about 30, 38 degrees Celsius, which is why I'm standing in the shade. Um, you can see there's quite a lot, there's a drastic difference in the background, and this is after about like 3 decent days of rain. Um, there's a lot of greenery happening. I'm standing under a guava tree that's prolifically decided to fruit at the moment, which is great. It's not an indigenous tree, but they do serve well in terms of home garden and having fresh fruits available to you. One of the things that I do want to talk about today is the worm bin. Just like all the animals, all the trees, the worm bin took quite a knock as well with the drought. Worms don't necessarily enjoy um, a super wet environment, but they do like moisture in the ground, enough moisture for them to do the amazing, excellent work that they do. Now, the reason for putting up a worm bin, of course, is one of the joys of self-sustainable farming is to produce what you need in order to farm on the farm. So instead of buying in expensive composts and fertilizers, you can produce that by simply putting up a composting worm farm. Um, now, when I initially set up the worm farm, I did a post about that, explaining the steps, procedures, how I did it, what went into the bin to start the worms off with. And at the moment, it's just about re-establishing the colony and trying to get them up now. Quite a few worms did survive, miraculously, but we're going to need to get the populations up again. And to do this, to put up a composting or a worm farm where you live is so much easier than people might think. It simply makes use of whatever kitchen scraps what you have, whatever garden scraps you have, and they work that into um, what we call black tea, which is the water that runs off of their production line, as well as worm castings, which is great as an additive to your soil, to your gardens. It increases the yield of your fruits as well as the growth patterns of the plants itself. So it's all around a beneficial thing to have around, and you don't need to have a huge bin. Now, that was what I was saying. I started off with a old water tank that I cut the top off, and it's quite a big container. But you can do this by simply making use of drums or an old bathtub or anything. I just quickly want to see if I can show you. I'm not sure how the lighting is going to play along, but let's try quick. So here's the bottom of the worm bin, and if I just had to dig through this, you'd probably be able to see all the worms. Now, there's quite a lot of small worms, which is great news, meaning that they have started to build up their population. This is the red composting worms, as you can see. I'm really happy to see that. I'm also looking to see some bigger worms, which I'm not, but that could simply be from just digging in the wrong place, the wrong time, I guess. No, but there is certainly a lot of babies, which is wonderful news. Wonderful, wonderful news. You can see the little ones there. Just see pretty much anything goes in here, including tea bags. There we go. Look at this. That is a nice, healthy composting worm. Very happy, very fat, and yeah, just doing their job. As you can even see, if you look at the soil, it's absolutely amazing. It's not quite at a point of being castings yet, but it is certainly getting there. So I'm just gonna put those back and cover them up nicely. So I guess this is one of the smaller projects that I need to reestablish, but step by step we're getting there. Um, just getting everything back in order. If you can have a look in the garden there in the background, um, there's not a lot happening there at the moment. Everything has pretty much been wiped out after the drought, and that's one of the things that we are starting anew again. But I'm just taking you step by step through the processes of having to reestablish everything from scratch again. And as difficult as it is, um, I must say that it's refreshing to be able to start over again. So I hope that you enjoy the journey with me.